What it do, niggas?
What's happening?
So glad Josh could show up this morning after not responding to my text messages yesterday.
You sent 2 text messages and I knew I'd see you today, Amber.
You know, that's a very man type of answer to give.
Okay.
Because to me, if someone texts you and you see the text messages, you would just respond, you know?
That's true. But perhaps
so crazy.
I was indisposed at the time.
Y'all don't even be doing nothing for real.
You're right.
Maybe he was catering to and caring for the women in his life. That's possible.
It was my 5th year anniversary yesterday, so that might be part of it. Correct.
See?
I mean, I don't feel like that prevents you from sending a text message, but okay.
You're correct. I was also looking at my schedule, but yes.
This is why I cut a nigga off this week. I just don't understand why it just, you know.
Good morning, chat. Peace, everyone. I will attempt to reply to Amber more expediently.
No, don't reply now.
How y'all doing today?
I'm fine. How are you, Kichi?
I see.
Maso and Manos?
Yeah. Trying to beat the police. That's it.
It sounds dangerous, brother.
Praying for your success.
Y'all know how it is in these Atlanta streets.
I know y'all finna have Keisha Lance Bottoms for a governor.
Yeah, maybe Keisha will change the worker, employee, landlord, tenant relations, but I doubt it. I don't think so. Maybe Killer Mike rent-to-own new business might help. Who knows? I don't know.
He's got a new one.
I know. That's what I'm talking about.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah. Him and his capitalist friends.
What they doing now?
Yeah, they just got this little rent-to-own plan where they're pretty much getting in where they fit in. I think there's been a lot of conversations. Keisha's back in the run-ins, and he's been heavy on her, but they saying like he's only supporting her because of all the little deals that she gave him. Hence why she would call him out. Hence why she called him out to call the people out the streets, tell them to go back home.
I see. Well, that's how the business.
I remember when she did that, and it was dumb as hell.
That's when Malcolm X said what happened. Get them celebrity niggas and tell them black folks stop tearing shit up.
Yeah, well, there was a debate about y'all were having on UIL about whether Killer Mike would run one day, right?
Possibly. He looked like he's on that trajectory. I don't know how long it will take, especially with Andy Young being his friend and Tony Wrestler putting some money behind him. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah. I think it's always a personal choice, right? Because you could just stay in the business bag. I really do think it depends on the celebrity. But yeah, maybe. But Josh has go ahead. Sorry.
No, I think that the United States has made it clear, the business class, especially in the real bigger corporations, to trade politicians for employees. So I feel like it's kind of one wouldn't explicitly say political power has something to do with business. They try to like dance around it, but if you want to make your business successful, you would probably go into policy yourself. So if Killer Mike want to be the real money man that he says, I'm pretty sure some point somebody's gonna convince him to run something. Who knows?
Yeah, makes sense. Well, we were requested a more fun check-in question this time, and so I think we have one, although I can't answer it. So I'm gonna have to rely on y'all. Josh, let's with some questions. So, what's your go-to karaoke song? That's it.
This is a better question. Thank you for receiving the feedback, Josh. My go-to karaoke song is "Lovers and Friends" by Usher. All three parts of the song, all the artists in the song. I'm doing every part. Thank you.
I don't even know how you can answer this question if you don't consistently go to karaoke. So I don't have a go-to karaoke. I don't really go to karaoke.
This is unfortunately my issue as well, Geechee. I do not do karaoke, so I cannot answer that question. I guess it's a similar question is if they put a gun in your head, what song can you sing word for word? I think that might be close enough, but I don't have a go-to karaoke song. I haven't done karaoke. It's not exactly my thing. Any song like the back of your hand, Geechee?
I mean, I feel like there's a bunch of songs that I don't know. I mean, I listen to music, but I just probably wouldn't do. I've been to karaoke sometimes, but I'm not. Yeah, I couldn't answer that question.
No, but you know any songs back word and forward, like 100% you wouldn't miss a lyric?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tons of songs. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think, yeah.
Oh, I couldn't say tons. I would definitely. There's always those like songs where you have to like through the word just a little bit if you don't know the lyric. I have a lot of those. I'm trying to think of the ones I know just like start to finish, no misses. See, and there's other ones that I always misheard as a kid. So one of them was Aaliyah "At Your Best." So I never, first off, learning that was a cover. It was only a few years ago for me, which was weird. I didn't know it was a cover of another song. But then I also didn't get the lyrics as a kid. I was always confused because I thought she was saying "At your best, you are loved," LOVED. And I was like, that's a weird line to say. Of course you're loved at your best. What about at your worst? But I didn't realize until years later it's "At your best, you are loved." Makes a lot more sense now. So I definitely couldn't have sang that one. But chat's got some.
That make it even worse. Like, what the fuck I'm gonna sing with a gun to my head for? Like, that's not gonna happen. So ain't gonna work.
Travis got apple pie for me. I could do that one.
So Amber, go ahead and sing the song then, since you.
Here we go.
I've been knowing you for a long time, so I'm not gonna sing that motherfucking song.
I could
on a live stream.
I could do Tupac Changes. Yeah, we don't want it. Well, this live songs don't get the copyright.
Tupac Changes.
Yeah, I could do that one.
Go ahead.
Word for it. Nah. There's no gun in my head, unfortunately. So
What now?
Yeah.
Right.
My dad. That was my dad's favorite. Well, one of his favorite pop songs growing up was that one. Oh, One More Chance, Biggie. That was another one I heard every morning. LL Cool J had sprung. I'm just doing all my dad's classics that burnt into my brain from childhood. Let's see what the chat got to say. Everything Counts by Depeche Mode. Don't Judge Me. Joey Badass, capital C, Survival Tactics. I don't know these.
I can't even tell you one Joey Badass song.
Oh, hey, I know some Joey songs.
Really?
I can't sing them.
I don't know any Joey Badass songs in there.
Save Me, Gary Clark Jr. There used to be a lot of gospel I could do. Kirk Franklin Revolution. That'll be my karaoke song. I love that damn song.
GP, are you with me?
Yes, that one. Old School Joey 1999. Yeah. Songs that you can sing with karaoke, Old Grease, or songs that like the back of your hand, all the lyrics. You don't have to like do some parts so you don't forget the order. Lots of those. But all right, Amber's the karaoke master among us. This
You know who
sunset.
also likes karaoke? I
Who
think I
else?
converted them though.
Who?
Y'all are not good at guessing. It's the
I
person
mean,
y'all always talking about.
I'm pretty sure that you was gonna say the dude, but
Well,
Yeah.
we don't have a name on the air, so that's why my mind usually goes to names of people.
Oh, well, yeah. That nigga who reads really is into karaoke now.
I
there we go.
see. I
I think
see.
that my conversion skills are top tier.
See, that might be a date. That's the karaoke night. Definitely counts as a date.
Maybe I pretty much converted everyone I've dated into karaoke heads
I think it's an
because
activity that seems a
it's a
lot
fun
more fun with
activity.
alcohol for the people who
I
aren't
don't
singing.
have to drink to do karaoke though.
Well, you're a singer, I just so I added, you know. Everyone else got to loosen up.
I just need a mic and a track with the words.
One mic. We got
I also
Strange
feel like
Ways.
people be going to karaoke and singing songs that should not be sung as karaoke, and that's annoying.
Oh, what's an example at first off? This one right here. Ribbon in the Sky. Even the doo-doo-doos. Gotta know that one.
Yeah, I'm not doing that for karaoke. Or a Cardi B song. Some of them was just too fast, like too fast rap songs for karaoke. Sexy Red songs. Not for karaoke.
I can do
To
them
me,
all.
any words that don't have any real like lyricism.
What's Sexy Red song? Nah. Booty Hole Brown, definitely. That's a fun karaoke song.
Wilson Pickett.
Wilson Pickett. Anything by Luther. Y'all are confident doing Luther songs.
I mean, I love Luther. I wouldn't do it at karaoke because the songs is long.
Yeah, and a lot of the old songs, yeah, they're very long, and there's a lot of instruments and belting. Don't Stop Believing gets the crowd going.
It does get the crowd going. That's my shit. But I also feel like karaoke is for people who are into musicals. And I'm into musicals.
That's a big overlap, I think, if you had that Venn diagram. Well, we're Amber and I will eventually schedule our Disney movie watches, but I think a lot of the Disney movies.
We're never gonna do it, chat.
I could do most of Hercules. I could do
Aladdin, Hercules,
Lion King. I think the classics. None of the new ones though. But then I'm not saying those soundtracks are bad. I think the new ones are pretty solid. I'm not one of those. Oh, back in my day. I think they actually have a lot of talented people. Mutt Leon Thomas would definitely be a newer age one. I agree that a lot of people like.
I don't know if I would do that for karaoke though. I do think it is a good call and response type of song though.
Yeah, so I think there's a difference of karaoke. So do you like to do it? It's like solo, Amber, or are you doing it with other people? Because I also feel like the song depends.
I like to do it solo.
See.
I don't want to do it with other people.
Exactly.
I've done karaoke with a few people that I've dated. Like we've done a song together, but then I signed up for like 3 songs by myself.
Sorry, my headphones just went out random. Brother Jamil says "The Summer Wind" by Sinatra. That's a classic. That's
a very you choice, Brother Jamil.
How much Wu-Tang? I know her for my Beyonce could definitely do "Protect Your Neck," start to finish.
Why does she know that?
Is she a Wu-Tang fan? Definitely more than me.
That's funny.
You know I'm all.
I don't know a single Wu-Tang song.
Oh man, this is the one that it's the one I like lately. That the show was pretty good. Well, yeah, I enjoyed it especially for like a rap TV show or whatever. I'm sure everyone's gonna have critiques and say it wasn't whatever. But if I had that old school voice love ballad, that would be one for me. Love is Battlefield, Joan Jett and the Black Hearts. Yeah. Tell Me by Groove Theory. Is Groove Theory? Where
I
are they?
love Tell Me by Groove Theory.
Yeah. I remember. Okay. When I see the image, I know that because I love their album cover. It's very much its era. Like it looks exactly like the time period it was released in. If y'all have never seen it, hold on. This
I
right
used to love
here.
that song. There's a really good Tell Me Groove Theory mix.
I mean, this would be more in terms of what if I had the pipes. Tevin Campbell, Can We Talk? Although everyone was having the jokes that it's at every R&B night, and we tired of talking to Tevin Campbell, and I kind of agree. I do think R&B nights kind of over-index on the same like 4 songs, but it just depends on where you go. Obviously, I'm not in the Black Mecca of Atlanta like Geechee, so. In Miami, our R&B nights might be a little more limited. All right, chat, keep letting us know some of your karaoke songs. I like y'all's music taste. I'm a fan. Can We Talk? I love what I see. Can We Talk? I love the group like exercise videos they have. Y'all ever seen those where it's like a whole classroom full of people and they skipping on I saw that in Atlanta. I saw one in Bahamas. I saw one in Hawaii with the Polynesian folks doing it to Can We Talk. That shit was a vibe. One of the best workout songs I've seen people get down to.
I'm like I've heard the song so much that I'm just like burnt out on it. Just like Tevin Campbell, tired of y'all singing it and listening to it. I'm tired of listening to it.
That's the thing a lot of artists have. I went to a T-Pain concert last year and bro was doing all his songs, but he was putting other people's beats on it. And just I was like, my man, can we get the original version?
He
I
be
know
doing
he's
like
tired. He's tired of buying you a drink. I know he is. I get it. He wants to put some new beats on it. I understand. I was just like, all right, man. But it was still good. He's still talented. That Death of Autotune corny shit that Jay-Z did back in the day. Zane, say it. That's another one. Also, He Who Will Not Be Named.
So I didn't know. I forgot that. What's her name? Emil LaRue, who was with Groove Theory. She had her own independent.
I never knew their names.
Well, I mean, she had an independent career that's shined farther than Groove Theory, but he didn't want to give her any production credits, so she was like, "I'm out," and did her own solo joint. And he tried to replace her with somebody else, and it didn't really happen.
Never is the same. Well, I mean, I like it if people could come back together, like New Edition with Johnny Gill and Bobby Brown. Fan. But when they, the replacement.
I feel like them hard drugs really changed them.
New Edition?
Them?
Yeah. Bobby Brown.
Oh.
Well, he was selling and using. Now.
Oh, this is my song too, actually. Yearning for Your Love by the Gap Band.
Yeah.
My shit.
Yeah. You talk about, but that one goes for a while, no?
I like good music.
Oh yeah. I was just saying, you were talking about the ones that take a minute, those 5-minute plus.
Oh. Well, I wouldn't play that as a karaoke song. I just like listening to that song. But I did think about another song I would do, and I would definitely do Adele's Love is a Game. That's a good karaoke song. Mm-hmm. It's not too long. It's like a good solid 2 minutes, I think.
Brother Jim, yeah. Pretty Woman, I agree. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Al Green has a church here, and he still be doing church services.
How old is Al? Brother Al's how old at this point? Curious.
I don't even know, but I know he has a church here, and he be doing the church services. Yeah. I've never been. And apparently it's like on this list of things to do in Memphis is to go to Al Green's church. I'm not going to Al Green's fucking church.
Oh, yeah, let me. You can always be a visitor, even if it's not your church home. Let's see. Reverend, we should be Bishop Al Green, 80 years old, born in 46, Ford City, Arkansas. Wow. Yeah. He could still be pretty sharp. I'm sure. I gotta Got to check it out. It was in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in '95. Look at that. The last of the great soul singers. Are there modern soul singers, would y'all say? I'm sure the genre still exists, but in terms of mainstream, I don't think it counts anymore. I don't know if there's any mainstream soul singers. So,
I mean, of course, it depends on what you call in soul.
yeah, well, that's that whole discussion what neo soul is, and then from there. Word. Well,
do you prefer neo soul or soul?
I don't have a.
You can only pick one. Quickly.
I can't choose.
I guess I really just don't know what you would call. So, for instance, are you calling Cleo soul, PJ Morton, Jasmine Sullivan? You calling those people neo soul or those soul?
No, I would say more soul R&B.
What's the difference between soul?
What's the
R&B?
difference? See, here we go.
The difference between soul and R&B, I think it's the instrumentation.
Oh, I thought you said soul R&B as a genre.
No, soul and R&B.
Yeah, but I thought soul was always R&B though. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but they list them separately, so I'm just saying.
No, I don't know. I wouldn't choose because I don't really know the difference between them. But
I will put them under soul though, not neo soul. Neo soul is more of a
neo.
when you get to the scat pack type of vibe,
Everyone's saying Kim. Yes, it's like my mom's favorite though. So again, when I think of modern, he still performing, yes, but I was listening to Kim when I was single digits, so don't consider it all that new. I don't know. See, this becomes the whole thing. We gotta let Classical Breakdown, if y'all don't check that out, with Ear Doctor and Kim Brown, usually Thursdays at 11. They are the experts, so I let them break down these categories and that kind of history. But yeah. Also, speaking of Ear Doctor, he did lace us with a thumbnail. People sometimes ask us about the thumbnail and what relevance it has. So Ice, Ice, Ice is the thumbnail with a certain Aubrey Graham on the front. Has anyone here listened to that album at all? I think he dropped 3 albums. Engaged in Aubrey, or he's not on our radar at all?
So
Drake.
How do you what's so when you say listen to an album, what's happening? Are y'all downloading the album? Y'all like what's happening? How you? Because I know people you don't buy stuff no more. Like you don't buy people's new CDs and shit and tapes and stuff. So because I don't.
We ain't that far apart, get you, but I stream it on Spotify.
Oh, you know, I can't think of an album that I got excited about that came out recently. Like in the last.
Really? Kehlani's album, I was very excited about. I got that one on vinyl. Really good album.
What category is she for you, Amber?
R&B.
Yeah.
She definitely is like very much bringing back R&B. I think her and Duran Bernard. They're doing that big one.
Oh, stop. You see, this is where the slander begins.
I bet he is.
You can buy vinyls, though. I do have some vinyls. I think I got one in here somewhere. I usually get them from my brother since he's the music guy by trade. But yeah, most people stream them.
Have you ever gone vinyl, like record dump shopping or whatever they be calling it? Dumpster diving, whatever.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, get you streaming, Spotify, Apple Music if you have that. I've had my Spotify membership since college and it's just carried over. You can go on YouTube though, because I wasn't trying to give Aubrey any streams, so I just went on YouTube and saw a rip. I won't even, because even if you go on there, a lot of artists officially on their pages will upload the songs too, and then they get streams that way. So you can just, every single platform that streams music, they do that. Yeah, crate digging, Bobcat. I have.
You niggas knew what I meant. Shit, I was trying to remember what the word
was. I knew what you meant. So yeah, mostly streams. I have him blocked. I also have Kendrick blocked. The beef just annoyed me. So I haven't listened to either of them outside of like one time through the albums. think I listened to GNX one time all the way through. People will be like, you can't get an opinion listening one time all the way through. Yeah, that's fair, whatever. But I listened to GNX one time all the way through. I think I ripped the Drake album. I'm not listening to all three. Ain't no way. But sounded like Drake to me. It sounded like his class.
It sounded like a nigga who needs some money.
Yeah, people talk about whatever his label has him in, that he has to always drop crazy amounts of songs like that. But it's a typical, like, if you were to talk about like 5 different types of Drake songs, there's the instrumental where he's just talking over stuff. There's the random future feature. And then what he's going to do is he's going to give me one song I actually like, and it's going to be the shortest one, and there's going to be a beat switch at the end. And so that was it. There's people when I like Shebang. That's the only song I like. It's 2 minutes long. It's got the worst music video, and then that's it. Everything else is gone. So
I saw like a little TikTok clip with that song Shebang, where it's like only like 5 seconds. It's like some Shebang. I said that's the whole song.
There's the whole. It's the whole song, Amber. You listen to the drop. He has a hook on it. He does the hook twice. He got about this much of a verse on each side, even though I like the verses, and then it's just gone. And then apparently he goes after Baby Keem's mom or something on Janice. Shut the F up. So all right. But I did see this take that I appreciated by a brother, which, I mean, it's a critique of a lot of artists, not just Drake, but Drake is about to hit 40, I believe. He does have a son. He's pretty grown at this point. As a lot of people are saying, you can't really avoid him unless you're like me and you literally block him on the stream, because he is everywhere on every single playlist whenever he drops, which is why the argument, it has a bunch of streams, it has a bunch of sales. Like, that's Jay-Z partnered with, what was it, Metro PCS or Sprint to get a million album sales automatically. Like, that's just capitalism. You control the means of production, or you partner with the people who do, you can get some streams. Because Drake, when he dropped Scorpion, I remember years back, he was on every Spotify playlist. He was on the Latin playlist as the face of it. Remember, they spoke Spanish since. So I think that's a way that they get around people actually organically having to listen to their music. But I appreciated this take from my brother. Drake album, Black Men Gotta Grow Up. Some of it, well, most of it I appreciated, but I'll let it run.
Just listen to the Drake album. But what I noticed, he's turned into the old nigga at the club. 2 most revealing words on Drake's new album: dig deeper. Literally says he know he got some healing to do. He know he got some things to work on. But the idea of digging into his own shit scares the fuck out of him. Drake is now a representative of Black men's refusal and inability to see the need to grow. Drake is about to be 40 years old. And the repetitive themes that he's talked about his whole career, they continue to regurgitate in his music. You got the theme of I versus they. When you have a certain perspective to hyper focus on yourself, there will be an absence of the inclusion of other, especially when it comes to the Black and brown community and how much work we need. 40-year-old Black man and not have any context, any conjecture on the state of Black America, what's going on with our people, how the men that praise and follow you can level up in some way, shape, or form. If you was to count how many times Drake said I on the album, I'm sure you would get over 500. And with the I attached to it is hubris, arrogance, and victimhood. Those are the main themes that prop up his idea of himself and how he presents himself to the world. When he speaks of they, it's not in a way of building people up. It's in a way of blame. Y'all did this to me. Y'all switched sides on me. Stabbed me in my back. Victimhood and blame, because he's been in the corner of his ego being fractured. For the first time in his life, we done seen the cool knocked out a nigga bop. If you don't have the ability to be vulnerable and completely honest about what you've experienced, not from a place of hubris and arrogance, but from a place of vulnerability, then you have no other choice, like a lot of Black men, but to lean into toxic masculinity. He literally calls himself the boy. Black men will champion Drake because he also represents not growing, not evolving, and staying inundated for lifetimes under these very trivial, empty things. Is success. If I'm rich, I fuck your bitch, and niggas ain't shit. It's empty calories. It's Kool-Aid. It's Takis. See nothing there that's going to stick to your ribs, stick to your soul, your heart, challenge you as an individual. The vengeance, the womanizing, the lack of sexual mastery, and the lack of loyalty that comes with the emptiness of running through random women that just see you as a come up. It's the self-fulfilling cycle of what many black men, especially in America, are going through in this day and age.
So I
I think that's a dude with him and his wife got a podcast, I think.
I see. Yeah, he did talk about therapy at the end.
Yeah, him and his wife.
So,
but I'm just looking at, because I do remember something about Lil Wayne, but apparently Jay Prince, the young Jay Prince, the junior, found Drake on MySpace when he was in college, and then he kept giving him to Lil Wayne, and that's how he got found in 2008 in Houston. I think I was leaving college, my last college in 2008. So if Drake never made it to the radio, I don't think I never would have heard anything about Drake.
I mean, I work among youth. I can't lie. Like, so that sometimes I'm like, it's nice that we could be somewhat, able to control our input. Again, same way, like I said, I don't have to listen to his music as much anymore. But I'm not going to pretend like if I don't go out, people aren't listening to this person. That if I go to any club, any corner, if I'm at a basketball court, that's not going to be played. So I do engage the fact that that's where people are at. I mean, my own friends, for example, all listen to this shit. Not all, quite a few of them are conscious enough and don't care, but a lot of them do. So in terms of that, regardless of how I feel about it, I know people listen to it, so I'm aware of what's going on. And I mean, I think that's pretty. I liked how he broke that down. I think that's pretty accurate. My only issue is I think that applies to a lot of artists, though. That's a lot of rappers that you could say have that critique. And to Jared's point, when he talks about hip hop's 50th or whatnot, he's like, my critiques aren't so much at the YNs, the 19-year-olds who are, getting brought into this corporate rap, although everyone has responsibility to hold. It's the fact that these are grown men. Like Snoop is old enough to be most people's dads. He's like in his 50s. He is a dad. Most of these men are dads. Master P's a dad. I grew up watching Master P do Romeo show. So these men are Birdman. Son went to the school I taught at. Like, these people are adults. And so I think the critiques can be leveled at men in their 50s and going on their 60s now. And so for Aubrey, he's going to be 40. He's around my age group. He's not much older than me, like my older brother. And so I think that's where I get drawn in. Is like, the topics are really shallow. You call yourself the boy, so there's sort of this immaturity there. But yeah, I could pretty much predict the content of all of it. It's a lot of just pettiness, a lot of I'm better than you, which is, rap, commercial rap in general. But him being the pinnacle of that and kind of being called out, like I said, Kendrick didn't, in my opinion, do the best job. But he still comes back and does the same thing. You know what I mean? Like he did not change at all. He's like, I'm going to put out the exact same product, the exact same thing. I'm going to try and act like it doesn't bother me when it clearly does. And I'm not going to address all the critiques of me as a father, for example, all of those things. Now, do we expect any different from the number one artist stream-wise or whatever in hip-hop? Probably not.
He's number one?
Stream-wise, yeah. Yeah.
So again, I think that's kind of the thing. If we were I don't know if we're talking about like the culture. I thought we was talking more.
Yeah, because I feel like he can get that just from people listening to one song, trying to see what the album about. Because the shit is lame. I've been watching the little reviews on TikTok. Those are really good. Because I ain't listening to that album, but I have been watching the three. But I have been watching some of the little review thingies, and they're hilarious. And I do agree with the video you showed. It's literally just an album about him being childish as hell. And talking about being childish and not needing to be childish.
Yeah, essentially. And even more. Go ahead.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, like, I think somebody else comment right here said I unfollow Drake, people that calls Drake and Beyonce. So Drake and T-Pain, all those type of artists, like, one, I just never was really into any of their music. And any of the young people I work with, I can't remember one. You know, the young people in Kentucky wasn't listening to Drake when I was there. Young people in Charleston wasn't listening to Drake. Baltimore wasn't listening to Drake. DC, like, so I'd never really. I mean, I hear you know, if it's on the radio, I'll hear, you know, certain things, but it's just, yeah, I just never, like, that's not my.
Well, you said Drake and T-Pain. You ain't have dances where people are doing buy you a drink.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but those are all commercial songs though. Like
Oh, of course.
I'm not about to. So if you look at my Pandora, all the stations, Drake or T-Pain would never be on any of my Pandoras. Like if they come on the radio, maybe, but like it's just, I don't know. I just think it's not really his style is not really. Because in fact, I remember one of my friends used to try to argue that how nice Lil Wayne was, and I'm like, he's straight, but like that, I'm not about to say he this. And then like I think it was a couple mixtapes that Lil Wayne had, like No Ceilings and stuff like that. I mean, they were fire, but Drake just never really. In fact, Lil Wayne didn't like Drake at first, so it just wasn't really. Maybe
yeah.
Why they bring him on Young Money then?
This is what I was gonna say.
That's why I said at first.
Yeah.
But I think you can answer the question why they brought him on Young Money. Like if he was gonna be a pop star, wouldn't you want to sign a pop star? And he became a pop star, right?
Oh, I didn't know the reason. Shit, I'm asking you.
No, yeah, it was 100%. Nicki Minaj, Drake, Tyga were the people who Wayne brought in. And Nicki Minaj, you know, had her own starter and all of that. But even her trajectory, she moved away from rap. I even think she saw the writing on the wall. And like every time she was with Young Money, it was like, are you fucking Drake? Are you fucking Wayne or whatever? So even she was like, this rap shit.
I never fucked Drake and never fucked Wayne. So
she's like, you know, I'm going to do this pop shit and boom, 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 bass and all of that. And so I think that's part of it. I will say, I know there's some things I'm seeing from our infamous chat, like nobody listens to Drake or only white people listen to Drake. White people inflate commercial hip hop since, you know, however many years now, like 40 years. So that's not true. There are black people who listen to this person, but yes, of course, white people like him. I also think there's an effect of a lot of brown people who like him and like feeling like they could say nigga, and that he kind of gives them that leeway. But again, a lot of artists do. Kendrick had a bunch of white people at his show saying nigga. So this is why I get back to like, this is a commercialized thing. I also think there is an immaturity when we talk about like boyhood, though. I'm thinking about like how adolescents are primed by men to think this is how manhood is. And so, I'll take your girl. I got a lot of money. I got a lot of cars or whatever. Because people are like, oh, that's boyish or whatnot. But I'm like, no, not exactly. Like to me, it was when it was a boy listening to 50 Cent and Jay and all those people that I started thinking this is what a man does. So I don't want to just like put that on childhood like in that way. Like as a boy, I listened to Class 3000 and Andre and all that kind of stuff and have fun. But I do get what people are saying in terms of like an immaturity, a frozen in time, that kind of thing with these artists. And I say a lot of people are also pushing back on not a lot, but some people are pushing back on toxic masculinity as a framework. I think it makes perfect sense. It's an expression of masculinity that is toxic. There are expressions of masculinity that are not toxic. I don't think it's all that complicated, right? It's specifically about
which ones are not toxic. What do you think?
Sure. I think I have my uncles who will love to like lift you up and play. Well, yeah. Okay, here's one. As a kid, we're at the pool and my uncles run around and they throw you in the pool. Right? They lift you up, they dunk you, they have all of that, they prank you, they turn you upside down and all of that. They're big He-Mans and they put you on their shoulders. I don't think that's toxic. I don't. I think it's a perfectly healthy expression of masculinity, and you go to your uncles specifically for that. That would be one example. I think the himbo caricature, the idea of somebody who's just like, they got a big booming voice and they grab you, and that's because that sometimes gets into like you have to be a big muscular man. But I'm talking about like they come and they grab, oh, and that kind of thing. That is another example of masculinity I think is healthy. It's expressing love. You are a man, but you are expressing that in a way that does not feel threatening, that does not feel steeped in patriarchy. So that would be some examples. I don't know if you have any examples, Amber, that you think of as forms of healthy masculinity. I think you're muted, or did your mic go on?
Oh, my bad. I was muted. I said I like the discussion. I mean, the examples you gave. I was just wondering since we were talking about it. Do you have some, Geechee?
I don't even heard the question because I was looking up this to verify if Nikki started out in gospel, which she didn't. Her mom was a
Nicki Minaj? No.
Why are you looking it up?
She was in the man. I can tell you Nikki history.
She was in gospel?
No. Nikki was. She worked at Olive Garden. I know Nikki's history. Nikki was doing the Jump Off mixtape. She did Lil' Kim covers and stuff. If y'all go way back and talk about Onika Mirage. So no, Nikki was hip hop the whole time. Any positive expressions of masculinity that you've seen? Things that you would say are examples of positive expressions of masculinity.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I struggle with which part. I struggle with what is masculinity versus femininity because I probably need a very clear definition of what is masculinity, what is feminine. I mean, kind of the same thing. Uncles, grandfathers sitting on the porch having conversations. I mean, but I don't know.
So I think what everyone gets to, which is my favorite part, is that gender is a construct, which is why this ends up being so confusing because you're forcing a gender binary and saying, well, men fit into all these categories, women fit in all these categories, and you just know it's not true. You know there's mad overlap because, again, gender is a spectrum. It's how you express yourself. I would say there's certain things about Black masculinity that people copy, the way we dap each other up. And dap is something that specifically came out of Black soldiers in the Vietnam War, for example. And so that was specifically an area where Black men were concentrated. It's politicized and it's a cultural expression. So dap was a way that Black men showed acknowledgement to each other in a way that white men couldn't. And it is specifically tied to Black masculinity. So the way we dap each other up is an example of what I would say is positive masculinity. And it is constructed a certain way because Black men were forced into the draft. So that actually makes sense to tie to Black masculinity. And then it's copied, and then the whole world does it, and it's the fist bump is what they're calling it. I'm like, that's dap, but whatever. The fist bump, and then Obama does it, and everyone's like, oh my God, he does dap. So I think dap would be an example of Black masculinity that is positive that we could talk about.
See, but that again, maybe we should do an episode because this is a string of comments. Someone agreed. Construct. Of course, Zinzi is always gonna say some shit like this, and then Leah. But yeah, I again, call me what you want. I have no fucking clue. Like I've heard say that everything that is negative is masculine and everything that is feminine is positive. Like that's kind of the logics that I be hearing.
That's wild.
But I do think that. Again, when we talk about gender as a construct, it is something that patriarchy predates even capitalism. So we can go into some older spiritualities, even on the continent, that try and do this, that try and say that there were like creator gods, and one is a feminine god and one is a masculine god. And then they try and put certain categories into these things, but it's not a really scientific understanding of gender. So we can understand that people who are biologically in terms of their sex, female, right, give birth. And so that is something that in a lot of religions, spiritualities is assigned to womanhood. But as we have a more scientific understanding of those things, we recognize, okay, well, gender and biological sex are not the same thing, so on and so forth. And so those categories become blurred as our understanding grows. But originally you'll be like, oh, okay, the creator God that's a woman is in charge of fertility. And then that gets put into all sorts of things like harvest of plants, for example. So this idea that womanhood is with fertility, and fertility is then applied to the rest of the natural world like plants. But if you know anything about plants, they don't follow the strict gender binary of human beings. A lot of them have all sorts of different chromosomes. Some of them are hermaphroditic. Some plants can self-pollinate, right? So they are not like humans. But if you have a kind of vague understanding of femininity, you might call plants and harvest and all of that something that falls under the woman category, right? That kind of thing. So I think we have some idealistic understandings of gender that then get put onto our actual material understanding of how gender works. And then for toxic femininity, sure. I mean, there's a knee-jerk response whenever somebody critiques like patriarchy, to be like, well, what about the women, right? Which I feel like is interesting. But I'm sure there's like the trad wife movement would be an example of toxic femininity. And again, when we talk about these systems, patriarchy, imperialism, racism, they're linked, they're fused. So I think the trad wife idea is tied to the idea of being a domestic or the ideal of white womanhood. And so one article I really like on that is called Manifest Domesticity by Amy Kaplan. And it's about the idea of a domestic and where it comes from. Domestic by nature implies a foreign, right? Or something outside of the domestic. And so when you actually talk about the idea of a domestic being formed in American society with womanhood, it was specifically about keeping out the native or the African. And so the domestic is like you control your own sphere and you keep it pure from those native savages. And so, yes, there is a form of femininity of being that kind of pure white woman that exists to slander, to colonize native and African people. So I would say that is an example of toxic femininity. Absolutely. I'm going to drop that article in the chat for people who are interested. It's called Manifest Domesticity by Amy Kaplan. And it talks all about that. It talks about the early literature, certain white feminist literature, which is why we talk about the strains of feminism and where they originate from. White feminist literature that talked about creating this idea of a white woman, right? A cult of domesticity to protect from and to give white women some sort of proper role in white patriarchy, colonialism, stuff like that. And I have it here. I'll drop it again. But if y'all are interested, it's right here, Amy Kaplan, Manifest Domesticity. I'll get y'all actual PDF. But the ideology of separate spheres and the cultural sentiment have been provided to understand the work of white women writers in creating a middle-class American culture in the 19th century. Most studies of this paradigm have revealed the permeability of the border that separates the spheres, demonstrating that the private feminized space, again, the idea that women are in charge of socially reproductive labor, a foundational condition of capitalism, right, is the home is infused and bolstered by the public male arena of the market, and that the sentimental values attached to the maternal influence were used to sanction women's entry into the wider civic realm from which those same values theoretically excluded them. So they used a version of femininity, a very white, colonial, capitalist, patriarchal version of femininity, to then say, this is why we should be educated. And if you look at early white feminist literature, they talk about that all the time. They say, if we need to know our role in the home, right? If I need to know that I'm supposed to be this right, virtuous woman who can cook and clean, then you should give me education so that I can know that better. And that was their stealthy way of getting access to education. So there we would go. That would be a breakdown. Toxic masculinity. This is actually a good example, thank you, Zenzi, of telling little boys not to cry like a girl or don't throw like a girl. The idea that the behaviors of crying, of being unathletic, belong to girls. And then when you ask why can girls not throw, I've seen a bunch of fathers literally tell me, I don't want my girl to act like a boy. So it becomes a self-reinforcing cycle. It's a skill. Throwing a ball is a skill. You teach somebody how to throw a damn ball. But if you have society set up to say girls do this and boys do this, then you're going to create a system where you don't teach girls how to throw balls. And then you're going to be like, oh, see, girls can't throw. Women can't drive. How? It's a skill. You just teach somebody how to fucking drive a car. So this is a basis. Yeah, I'm done.
So when you said a society and then you create, because I remember having this conversation around like kind of to Brother Jamil's point, like if the environment toxic, then most people will have like parasitic toxic behaviors, and rather it be women, men, or whoever. So when you say do you feel like those behaviors and values and thoughts are impressed upon people, or something that those people are creating?
It's impressed upon them.
Yeah.
Just like, well, if you're saying toxic, like poison is introduced to us, right? toxic waste pollution. That's where the word toxic even comes from. It means that you had something
Mm-hmm.
pure and it has been polluted. So,
Geechee, what kind of tea you got? What your tea look like?
It's a little
It look
blend.
like my tea. It look like you trying to be like me so bad.
Yeah, I am.
good. And Sailor Bory Ken Lieber, this is why my favorite revolutionary text on this subject is Women, Race, and Class by Angela Davis. Because again, you have to have a conception of capitalism, colonialism, or national oppression, and patriarchy to understand this. Because, of course, this was the whole break fundamentally with Black feminism and white bourgeois feminism, was it's like, y'all are trying to get access to the workplace, and we have been working since we got here. So Miss Anne, that's what they even talk about, like these narratives from Black women talking about we didn't feel part of Miss Anne's movement because y'all are trying to do labor and we've been doing labor the whole time. And even again, I want to talk about class because Amy Kaplan specifically talks about the construction of a white middle class, right? There's a class dynamic even among white feminism that needs to be studied. The Lowell Mill girls are examples of, they were 14-year-old white girls who lost men in their lives. And so, because under patriarchy, they didn't have any provider anymore. They basically were forced to work in mills and have horrible, horrible conditions. And so the labor struggle early on comes from the Lowell Mill girls striking. Marx even talks about it, and Angela Davis mentions the citations of how in Europe, when the enclosure movement's happening and they're forcing serfs off the land to work in these factories for capitalism, there's women who are being used like beasts of burden in Europe, right? This is before chattel slavery. So even then, if the feminism is focused on the ruling class, the so-called middle class, right, then you're going to ignore even class contradictions within white femininity. So no one really talks about the Lowell Mill girls, for example, when they were some of the earliest labor strikes, but people will talk about, Elizabeth Cady Stanton and folks like that. I wonder if there are pictures. I think there are a few, because they were operating around the same time chattel slavery exists. They were just primarily in the Northeast, if I'm not mistaken. The Lowell Mill girls were the pioneering female textile workers who powered the Industrial Revolution in Massachusetts during the 1830s and 1840s. Recruited from New England farms, these young women were drawn by the promise of unprecedented financial independence, educational opportunities, and structured border house living, right? Because they were oftentimes women without men, widows, young girls whose fathers had died, things of that nature. So in this society, there's nothing that existed for women to even be able to exist in terms of economic independence. So there you go. The demographics, the workforce consisted largely of unmarried Yankee women aged 15 to 30. By 1840, they made up nearly 3/4 of the city's 8,000 plus textile workers. Mill owners, men, patriarchs, capitalists, like Francis Cabot Lowell, housed the girls in supervised dormitories and offered wages, averaging $3 to $3.50 per week, that were much higher than traditional domestic work. So again, traditional domestic work, which is usually done by enslaved African women. So there's even that dynamic to the class contradictions of white women having a form of labor that is still exploited, but better than what Black women were dealing with. So I think that's a good foundation. Any other thoughts?
It's such an interesting conversation because I was also talking to somebody about this too. And the idea of gender roles, masculinity, femininity, whatever. Because the nigga who be sending me TikToks, and he sent me this TikTok about Black men who grew up in single households or single female households with women siblings too. So they're like the only Black male in the household, and how they're they grow up with more of a holistic view around gender, because they're also doing things that will be viewed as more women related roles, like cooking, cleaning, laundry, stuff like that. And how people would question if he was gay all the time because he does regular shit. And I was like, that's so weird, because I actually also tend to date people who are non-gender conforming, in the way of they do normal things that everyone should be doing, but we assume that only women do these things. I kind of have done it for a while though, not on purpose. I think it just is natural, but I always thought it was so weird how we have these gender roles we're giving to people, but then you expect men to also be well-rounded and be able to like sustain their lives and themselves, but you don't give them any of the tools to do that because you tell them a woman is supposed to do all those things for them, which to me doesn't make any sense and isn't realistic. And then y'all be looking stupid when men are always trying to marry someone or be in a relationship because they don't know how to do things because they literally weren't taught to do them. So they have to be with someone who can do them for them or support them in learning how to do them. And I'd be like, that is so weird that y'all think that's a normal cycle that people should be doing. It's so weird.
Yep.
And we were talking about it because he was in the army, and he was talking about how people who are in the army were always getting married so quickly because they don't have any of those like basic life skills that they would normally need because they were never taught any of them. And the army only reinforces like toxic masculinity type of trends. So then that's how they end up in these like multiple marriages and usually like abusive relationships. And I was like, that makes actually so much sense when I think about it. Like now that I'm thinking about it, because I don't know a lot of people in the military, so I never thought about it. But when I thought about it, I was like, that does make a lot of sense as to like why they would get married so quickly, because they are, obviously lacking some skills.
You say what now? Like if the men get married quickly and they get married to women, so the women are being married quickly too, or
Yeah,
Yeah, the women
do
get
the
married
social,
too.
to do the
They're
social
getting married
media
to be a slave.
legit. And so
That's exactly what I said. And he was like, it's not slavery. I said, that's slavery.
okay,
They're
listen.
getting
Amber, here's what I love. I love that you just did that. My favorite, the dialectic. So check this out. I love to when I teach this, I talk about Sojourner Truth's Ain't I a Woman, the actual translation, not the white woman kind of redux version, because you have to look that up. And Alexandra Kollontai, a Soviet revolutionary. And here is Alexandra Kollontai to the women workers. Okay. And again, I'm telling you, when you look into Black women and how they speak about this, it sounds extremely similar. Why does a communist revolutionary sound like a Black woman seeking her own liberation? So for many centuries, women were oppressed and had no rights. For many centuries, speaking in the Russian situation, again, we must understand we're not talking about pre-colonial Africa and all that. We're talking about her, in a white Russian woman, Soviet. For many centuries, women was oppressed and had no rights. For many centuries, she was just an appendage to the man, his shadow. The husband provided for his wife so long as she obeyed her husband's will, meekly endured her own powerlessness, her own domestic and family. What did it say, Amber? Slavery. That's what Alexandra calls it. And again, when we have Black women, enslaved African women under white patriarchy, they start talking the same way, right? The October Revolution liberated women. Now the peasant woman has the same rights as the peasant man. The worker woman has the same rights as the male worker has. Everywhere the woman can vote, and everywhere she can become a member of a Soviet or a commissar or even a people's commissar. But while, according to law, a woman has the same rights as a man do, life hasn't liberated woman. The worker woman, the peasant woman are still in the clutch of a household, still a slave in their own land. The task of the workers now is to adjust life so as to relieve the burden of childcare from a woman's shoulders. Right there, what you just said, Amber, to make household easier. The working class is interested in the liberation of women in these fields. The working class should understand that the woman is a member of the same proletarian family as the man, eliminating these gender roles, because the woman is working as well as the man. 1/3 of the wealth on earth is created by women. There are 70 million women workers in Europe and America, and I'm curious about that number even. In communist society, a woman and a man must be equal. Without equality of women and men, there is no communism. Go to work, comrades, working women, liberate yourselves, build nurseries, maternity houses, socialize childcare. Socialize childcare. Men and women can take care of little babies. In fact, I have. Help the Soviets set up public canteens. Help the Communist Party build a new happy life. Your place is amongst those who are fighting for the emancipation of working people, for equality, for freedom, for the happiness of your children. Your place, working women and peasant women, under the red revolutionary banner of worldly victorious communism. This was over 100 years ago. Where's my damn, hold on. Where's my bars dropped?
Now listen, that's called my boy. You know nothing about that.
So that's what I want to talk about when we talk about the history.
I know what I be talking about.
Amber is correct. They do.
And I refuse to be a slave. So.
And even when we talk about early conceptions, they talk about slave of a slave, things of that nature. Now, I want to address this point from David Barnes because I've talked about it quite a few times. I think there's a piece called Why Womanism that I would recommend on this. But because non-white women saw how white women co-opted feminism and used womanism to combat that. Absolutely. And if you are using womanism in that way, I 100% support it. Alice Walker's tradition, yes. At the same time, Black women have also struggled over the term feminism. And so just like nationalism has a white nationalism and a Black nationalism and a revolutionary nationalism that we have to struggle through, yes, you can use a new term. I am A-okay with that if you talk about the lineage, if you inherit the struggle, all of those things. But we also cannot act like feminism is something that is exclusively to white women and hasn't been struggled over as well. Because I always say this argument, Black people can make up a new word for socialism and communism. Cool. If you want to do that, I'm fine. At the same time, socialism and communism have been used by Black people, struggled over with Black people, and it's a part of our revolutionary struggle. So you can't be like socialism is a white thing because that's exactly how we get into this box. So if you want to have a new term and you want to, it's going to do all the revolutionary things and fight for women's liberation, go for it. But also acknowledge that there are people who struggle over the other term and are advancing that tradition too. And feminism is one of those terms, just like socialism and communism are those terms that Black people have made our own unique contributions to and have our own lineage and tradition of using. So that's all I wanted to
Period.
Yeah.
And one thing about it, I ain't doing none of that shit. So that's really where y'all be having me fucked up at. Because I'm not finna do any of those things. Somebody else gonna have to do it. So you're gonna have to know how to do it. And I see that Lion Times Baby wants to be serious today. So they actually said something worth something today. So I wanted to read their comment. He said, most of us in the Black household come up doing both. That's how we were raised, mostly in matrifocal homes. What you're talking about is people just not being raised right, i.e. women who can't cook. I don't fully agree. I do think that I know some people who have grown up in other types of households, and then I know how to do those basic skills because sometimes, that whole mama's boy thing is very serious and people will baby their sons and their sons don't learn to do certain things, and then those sons just grow up to find people who will do those same things for them. I've dated one of those too, but I was like really young. I was in college, so I ain't fall for the bullshit. I got over it quick. I was like, "Oh, you're stupid," and I stopped talking to him. But I realized early on that like he just was a mama's boy, and just wasn't really independent and really couldn't do a lot of things himself. And also, I just think that I agree that these are basic life skills that everyone should learn because I just think about how like when you like graduate high school or like become an adult. If you're not automatically in a relationship or married, you have to be able to do things yourself. And if you aren't doing them yourself, then I can tell because I went to somebody's house who didn't know how to do basic shit. And their house is insane because they don't know how to do laundry or clean or do anything. And they expect this nigga said his mama would come over to do his laundry for him. She coming over to get the laundry. I never forget this. This man said the mama was coming to get the laundry, would drive an hour to get his laundry, take it back to her house, wash the laundry, and then he would go pick it up. I was like, that's insane.
Yeah.
When you could just learn to do your own laundry. You're 35, mind you. This is not like a young person. This nigga almost 40 at this point, because it's a while ago, and does not do his own laundry. And has a father married to his mother who enables the behavior. So it's not always, the type of household, but I have noticed a lot of times Black single mothers do make sure their sons know how to do independent tasks because they just understand that everyone needs to know how to do like all these basic things. Like this is a normal thing that people should know how to do. And you might not have a partner. So you might need to learn how to cook a meal yourself. But I will say I can cook. I just choose not to. And that's also my own problem. And I recognized that problem early
But
on.
you have the, I mean, if you have the skill, that's really what it is. And it's interesting how patriarchy affects different homes. And yes, this usually is actually put on the single mother household. But like you're saying, there's situations where the single mother household has patriarchy in it. And the single mom might have a girl and a boy and be socializing them that way. And there's single mother homes that are teaching everybody the skill. And I talk about this with my dad, who was one of 11. Like, it was poverty. So in a lot of ways, he just had to learn how to do shit. My grandpa was a tailor. My grandma was a seamstress. So learning how to iron clothes, wash, all of that. Like, 1 year poor, 2 year in the house with like 6 other niggas on top of you. You just learn these skills. But even interestingly, when I'm talking to my trainer the other day, we were talking about like hair braiding. And I was like, do you know how to braid hair? And I don't know how to do it either, but I want to learn. And that's why, again, Amber, to your point, like, we need to build social, like Kollontai says, social spaces where we can learn. There need to be braiding classes in these community spaces. And there are. I do know, shout out my CC Radio, they had a braiding class. But that's what we're talking about. So learning the skills, it can be a socialized process where we all go one place to learn it. And then unlearning the gender about it. Because when I talked to him, he was like, yeah, I want to learn so I can braid my daughter's hair. And I was like, interesting. But what about your own hair? Right? You have braids. And then on top of that, during the pandemic, when we couldn't go nowhere, my dad was the one who braided my hair. So for having sons, he had the skills. So even the fact that like the brain was automatically like trained to think, oh yeah, braiding hair, something I do with girls. Right? So I think about how we unlearn all those things over time.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have unlearned a lot of them over time. What do you think, Ichi? About the topic, you ain't said shit.
I mean, every time I was talking, y'all, I don't know. There's a lot. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff. I'm always interested in these topics in practice, in organization, in real life, because what I find is sometimes I think the initial question I was thinking about is like, and I don't want to do a would you rather, but like somebody with a sharp analysis or whatever online, but in practice, shit, or somebody who probably don't say whatever you want to hear online, but have a track record of behavior in life. And so I feel like, yeah, I like to see these things translated in real time. And then I initially thought about like when you said people will baby their sons. I wonder how do we, whenever that's the case, I wonder how do we engage and talk to those mothers? Like what type of conversation are you having with those mothers? I know how people have hot takes and say shit online, but I'm just always curious how this stuff translates in real time of when you get offline and interact with those mothers who baby their sons or their sons who've been babied or whatever you say or however you analyze the people. I just wonder how you interact with those people in person.
Yeah, Amber, you got a response?
I mean, I would say, unfortunately, I do view it as a character flaw. Oh, shout out to 200 people who are watching us. Unfortunately, I do view it as a character flaw to not be well-rounded or able to take care of yourself. And that's my own personal judgment. But I do just think that for me to consider you like mature and like worth me putting any energy into, I have to know that you don't like need me just to take care of you. Like you don't just need me to, you don't want to just date me because you need someone to cook you meals. Like, and I'm also coming from a lens of like, you know, I'm a Southerner and I'm a fat Black woman. People think fat people can cook. First of all, I really can't. But I have definitely had men try to date me because they thought that I was a good cook, and I'm definitely not. I'm just fat because of those my genes. It's not because I'm eating a lot and I'm not cooking. So unfortunately for you, you aren't getting any home cooked meals out of me. But that has happened to me before. So I think this is like my personal like hard stop is that I very much view it as a character flaw, and it's not attractive to me.
Yeah, I could speak to counseling Black boys and like talking to their parents, talking to their moms. I'm from blended families, some from dual, typical nuclear family with a mother and father in the home, and some with single moms. And to me, it's modeling the behavior, right? Seeing other forms like we talked about with Black masculinity, looking at it in many forms, looking at it in the, like I said, the himbo form, like my dad, who was just a classic, working man who had all those skills and all those things. He was an ideal. And in so many ways, he doesn't meet the mold in terms of just how he moved and how he acted. I'm an example. Queer men are examples. So I think, first of all, like theory and practice, giving people actual other examples of masculinity and showing that your son might favor one of these types. Like, it's a broad spectrum of things, and I think people sometimes have a very narrow image of what that is. So I usually see a lot of people who talk about wanting mentors in the community, and so that becomes a thing. So how do you do mentorship properly? And then Jared talked about how that term even in African-centered spaces gets challenged. So I just think giving people examples of other forms of masculinity, giving them different hobbies to engage in, and then changing the norms in the space. Like, you set the norms in the space. I know on the Thursday show, I talked with Kim, the ear doctor, about that viral video of that Black man who is teaching all these boys these skills. Consent was one. One I really appreciated was how to talk to a child with special needs, where he gave examples and stuff like that of how you don't talk past them and all of those things. I think that's absolutely true. Like, that is a great way to actually practice that. Where I push back was, like I was saying, but then I look at this brother and he's saying Semper Fi, and he's a U.S. Marine, and he's big up in Elon Musk, right? So how do we find an example?
He about the reservations?
I have not seen. The hotel reservations.
Mm-hmm. He took them to a hotel and showed them like how to talk to somebody if your hotel room is messed up or your key isn't working. Which I feel like one was like them teaching them to speak up for themselves, if in like out of anything, which I thought was good.
Yeah, I appreciate. So I've had speaking. I've had kids learn speeches and stuff. We did the Wiz. That was like the final play for the summer program I was at. And so there was a way that we had to talk about speaking up and giving young Black boys a platform to raise their voice, all of that. At the same time, they were wearing costumes and being artistic and stuff that some men would call feminine or queer or whatnot. So really, kids learn, from my experience, from the norms they see modeled by adults. So I think that was a big thing. I don't necessarily have a problem with, like Amber said, you showing these kids how to speak up. I think that's really important. I would just question some of the assumptions that you're embedding in the practice. Like, oh, you're doing this for your wife, for example, was something that's being taught. That automatically, and people be like, where do we learn that hetero? What do you mean they teach people to be straight? Just don't teach my kid anything. There's heteronormativity. This is a thing that exists for a reason. So when you're telling a bunch of kids in a room and you haven't asked them their sexuality, or they haven't even figured it out yet, right? You got to do this for your wife. You're automatically telling them that man, women, that is the natural order of things. And so that's how I would do it. I would do the same class. I would just remove some of those patriarchal or heteronormative assumptions. Yep.
What do you think from that, Geechee?
Nothing.
I'm sick of you. Okay.
Geechee got to stay out the chat. The chat's chatting, but
the chat is asking me some questions, so I will just respond. But if y'all judge me, I'll never tell y'all shit about myself ever again. Okay? Thank you. Someone said, Amber, you ain't doing nothing for your partner though. You just door dashing. No, I do more than that. And then Lion Times Baby said you can't cook. I did say I can cook. And then Brittany asked me, do I only eat out? So I just want to say, I don't only eat out. I mostly make meal prep. I drink some protein shakes and I prep meals ahead of time on the weekends. And I'm making like ready to go things. Like, it's already cooked and I just put it in the microwave. But I only do that like twice a week. Other than that, I'm just eating stuff that's like easy to warm up or something. I just don't like cooking. And I have ADHD and I forget to eat a lot. And so I have to eat something that's like immediately available to eat like right then. I don't really have the capacity to cook something because I'm probably on the brink of passing out because I done waited too fucking long to eat some food. So I just be, I'm winging it. I eat a lot of chicken nuggets though. They're delicious. I don't know if y'all eat those, but
chicken nuggets. You making them from scratch, or you getting the Tyson frozen
No,
in the
I'm
pack?
putting them Tyson hoes in the air fryer. I do eat a lot of green smoothies, shitty matcha, and my mama was judging me because I was going like 2-3 times a week. And she was like, "How much are you paying?" And I was like, "I don't think that matters. Is it your money? It's my money." And I just choose to spend it this way. I don't know. I don't see an issue with it. So I drink a lot of green smoothies too. But I moved, and when I moved, I don't live as close to the green smoothie place anymore. And I don't go to Smoothie King or Tropical Smoothie Cafe because they put a lot of sugar in their stuff. I'm drinking like just regular, the green smoothie made with regular, fruits and veggies and stuff. So I haven't actually been in a little while, and I miss the place that I used to go to. I know that Shirley Indy said to look to her other question, but I don't see another question. Do y'all see another question?
I don't, but while you look, I was thinking it's 9:15, Friday remix. Welcome, y'all. And I think we could get into some news if y'all are ready. And Amber, you could look in the
And y'all
chat.
should send us some super chats since I told you my lore.
That as well. And Shirley, if you Amber can't find it, please raise the question one more time.
Just resend it. I don't see it. Just resend it.
And we'll get to it. But that being said, it's time to hop into some news. So this article came across our radar. Shout out Josh for hooking us up on the run sheet. The word black has disappeared from a set of bills aimed at addressing black mental health. Why does the federal omnibus now only say black one time? The answer depends on who you ask. So I've been reading for a while. Either y'all want to take this on? I think I'm zoomed in enough.
Yeah, the word black has been almost completely removed from a package of bills that have been long viewed as Congress's main legislative vehicle to address the black maternal health crisis, frustrating some advocates who feel black women are being erased from the policy. The key change this year is the title. The Mom Nimbus Act, filed in mid-March, was called the Black Maternal Health Mom Nimbus Act in 2023. Before that, it was the Black Maternal Health Mom Nimbus Act of 2021, and the same thing of 2020. None of the previous packages, which were championed by Democrats, have been enacted, but references to black in the package's legislative text have also evolved. The 2020 version has more than a dozen, primarily referencing black women. In the 2021 version, many of those were replaced with nearly a dozen references to black pregnant and postpartum individuals. All those descriptions were removed in the 2023 bill, with the word black appearing only once across the entire package, referencing a historically black college or university or other minority serving institution. And those 2023 changes carried over to the latest version.
Okay.
The legislation, which does not appear to have a path forward in the Republican-controlled Congress, has long been touted as a way to address the United States' abysmal maternal health mortality rates, as well as the stark disparities for black women. Maternal mortality rates in the United States surpass all other developed nations. In 2023, there were 18.6 maternal deaths for every 100,000 live births in the nation. The rate is far worse for black women at 50.3, and they are three times more likely to die than white women from pregnancy-related causes, irrespective of income or education. But removing black from the title of the bill comes as the Trump administration attacks initiatives aimed at diversity, equity, and inclusion. And advocates worry the title change is both a signal that racial disparities shouldn't be at the forefront of discussion and a warning that they won't be addressed.
Okay, you want to get into this? This is so we know they're removing black because of the anti-DEI wave that Trump and the conservatives have been pushing. So now I guess the goal is to try and make the same bill and remove any race-specific language from it. What I find ironic about this strategy is it's something championed by a lot of white quote-unquote progressives, right? This is like Bernie's language around, why do we need to include race? Just do class. A rising tide raises all boats. So why do you need to talk about Black maternal mortality? Just do Medicare for all or do something like that. And the Black women's mortality rate will just, it'll magically get solved because everyone's will get solved. Right? So what do we think about that kind of line of reasoning that they're having to deal with here?
Can you go back down to where we was talking about Lauren Underwood?
Sure thing.
I just wanted to read that part too, because she is the lead sponsor of the Mom Nimbus. And I've met her several times and talked about this actually because I really care about Black maternal health. And the Black mortality rates are really, really high in Memphis. They're the highest in the nation for a specific zip code here in South Memphis. So I was talking to her about that, and I'm very on the fence. I can understand, I've had to change the language of legislation before too. I've had to remove all signs of race. And there's a lot of people who are state reps who pass legislation around Black mortality, Black women and the mortality rates, but don't have the word Black in their bills either. There's one in Nebraska. There's one here in Tennessee around doula care. So I can understand people being concerned that it doesn't have the word Black in it, but the criteria only will fit Black women realistically when you read the bill. So I can understand them removing the language to just get it passed. I get annoyed when people, as Congress members specifically, are working on the same thing for so long. And so I have watched her work on this bill and they've been able to get some things passed. But at this point, if you got to take Black out to get it passed, I'd rather she just go ahead and do the shit because she's been trying to pass this bill for a very long time. And they've been working on it and passing little supplemental things in the meantime, but it's not getting where it needs to be to pass. And so if this is what helps it pass, I'm all for it. But I'm unsure of what the status even looks like for it.
Yeah, I agree. Get it through if you can, but my whole thing with the Bernie approach is that you it doesn't work, right? They'll stock it a lot of times, maybe not specifically this one, but when you try and be clever and let's say let's do it by zip code or we'll do it by income and we'll add two other factors that are stealthily Black but aren't saying Black, right? The people who are opposing this, the conservatives, know they're not confused. So even if you were to start saying low income and then start talking about specific underserved neighborhoods, they know the language because they're the ones who create that strategy with the Southern strategy. And you start saying busing rights and so they know how all the stealth words. They're part of the people.
It doesn't say underserved communities, but I also will say Republican Congress members also have people who are dying in their districts from maternal health. It's not just Black women. Poor rural white women are also dying, which is exactly how they passed the bills here in Tennessee and Nebraska. Although they don't have a large population, so they aren't going to get as much support. They are getting some, so they do have an incentive to want to pass it. I think it's more so that they're weak and they don't want to be seen by Trump as passing something that's DEI related.
Right. Well, that was my point. So I'm not saying they're going to say underserved. I'm saying that there's a list of keywords and qualifications that you can use to basically mean Black or low income that Republicans are still aware of, even if you don't say Black. So the idea is that, we'll just pull back. All right, they attack us. Now we'll take Black out and we'll start using these other words. Well, I'm saying the Republicans know what those words are. So even if you do back down, they'll still be able to attack it because they know what you're trying to do. They just understand what they're trying to do and they attack the poor. So to your point, yes, they also have people who are dying in their districts who are poor and low income. I always point out that Flint is 40% white or something like that, right? But we know that when we're talking about our history of mass mobilization, of getting people's consciousness raised, highlighting the contradiction of Black is what will motivate our people, right? You can say underserved and low income and our people will understand what you mean. But also for our consciousness, I want to point out Black women are dying the most. So we want to be able to highlight that. That is why if you pull back, you're going to lose some of that popular energy and momentum, which is what we're seeing here. I'm not disagreeing with you that obviously you still got to get the thing through because it's still going to do the thing you wanted to do relatively. But I'm just saying we still, the Democratic leadership will still back down. They'll still pull out the black or whatnot, and then they'll try and do this thing, and it's still going to lose because Republicans are not interested if you say black or low income or whatever. They have a ideology that attacks this off principle. So that's where I'm getting at. But I hear you. This person spent a lot of time on it, so I know she's going to be like, guys, like, let's get it through. You know, even if they.
Yeah, because I wonder also at what point do you start to look ineffective? Because this has been the main legislation that she has worked on and championed. And I also think that, like, this is really where I push people on the whole, depending on government for things that we as community have to provide. Because at some point, you have to realize that if we don't have control over Congress, or folks don't have the negotiating skills to get a bill passed, it's not going to pass. So either you want them to keep working on it and trying to pass it, or you want them to give up. But if they give up, it doesn't fix the issue. So then that means, what are we as a community going to do to change that thing? Or are we going to work on local policies in the meantime? Because while she's been working on this Mom Nimbus, there have been multiple Mom Nimbus packages passed in states. Several states have them, like more than 10. It's a lot of them. And there's been a lot of funding that's came down to Memphis, specifically for South Memphis, because the 38109 zip code has the highest black mortality rates for Black women and their babies in the entire country. Like, not just here in the US, but like in the whole entire country. Like, that's how bad it is. And so they've gotten support and have fixed those numbers. Like, they've gotten better. They've increased over time, right? But I always would be the person that's like, okay, if you see this thing isn't working, then what is your next move going to be? Because at this point, it's 2026. You proposed this bill since 2020. If you're not getting it through, are you going to change to something else? Or are you going to change tactics? Or do you need to say, like, to us as a community, like, hey, I don't know if this is going to happen, so I would encourage y'all to do this and this and this and this. I think that makes more sense.
That when they proposed it the first time, that was at the height of COVID in the US. And that's part of the reason why it didn't get seriously dealt with at the time. Was that like an argument? And I heard Cory Booker is somewhat associated with this, even being on the table.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious. I'm always curious about the language around things. If we are like, is saying black or not black, is it gonna get it passed? And then, because this kind of go back to this thing that Derek Hamilton always talks about, and Jared says it too sometimes with certain economic things, like be it baby bonds or whatever. It directly is structured for a particular group of people, which is going to be majority Black people because of the numbers. But again, I don't know if this is the same conversation, but like, saying a thing doesn't mean that you're going to be committed to a thing. So, I mean, there's people all over the world that has things on their website to say they do things, and I mean, it doesn't make them do it to say it. So yeah, I wonder if there's a way to measure. And I think somebody asked in the chat, like, has there been a positive tick in Black maternal health? And obviously the answer is no. And so yeah, I'm always curious about those other states. I only looked at this morning. I was trying to look at those states that you were talking about, Amber, but if you have any specific points of those states that have, it will be interesting to measure how it has impact those cities or states who already have the policy implemented.
Yeah, most of them have adopted policies around doula care. So like Tennessee allows for doula care, and they also provide postpartum care up to a year after birth for people who are on teen care. And that's really the coded language. Like, the people who are usually like experiencing like high mortality rates are folks on teen care. Or in California, they passed the same bill where they provide reimbursements for doulas now, and they also provide postpartum care up to a year afterwards for people who are on Medi-Cal, which is like the California type of like public insurance or whatever. Well, not public insurance. What is it called? Like the type of Medicare for people who are in California. I only know about that because I was watching a video about it recently. But they do it in Arkansas. I'm pretty sure they do it in Georgia too. They do it in a lot of the southern cities, and up north they do it in Maryland, Virginia. Um, since you said NYC also, so they have it in New York. They have it in a lot of places. I know, like the doula care reimbursement thing was really, really popular, and that also helped to lower the mortality. And I knew someone who was a doula in hospital, so she was working with moms who were having hospital births because a lot of people were switching to home births or like a clinic, but she was working with a lot of folks who still would go to the hospital, and she had to do a lot of advocacy work. And I was like, yeah, I wouldn't want to deal with that shit. Like she was having to do so much advocacy for the patients because it really is them just getting ignored a lot in the hospital. And I feel like that would have just drove me over the edge and I would have been cussing everybody out. Like it just was too much. So I do think that the doula reimbursement has helped a lot. And I also think that providing postpartum care for up to a year afterwards, I think some of them provided for longer than a year, but I know that definitely has really helped. But one part of the mom nimbus that I think they didn't talk about in that article was that there was a package that was passed that provided federal grant funding to different organizations who were doing Black maternal health work.
They talked
And
about it a little lower.
okay, because I was at this was I think CBC like 2 maybe 3 years ago, but she had a session with those community partners about the funding they received through the Mom Nimbus and like what they were able to do. And I went to it because I really want to know because I was like, you know, I know that they haven't been able to pass the bill they want to pass. So I really want to know what they were able to accomplish. And those orgs did a lot of work to provide support for people. And I mean, it wasn't like a lot of money. Oh, you put it up. Here it is.
Yeah.
Though it has not been enacted, aspects of the bill have been implemented through congressional funding directed to the Office of Minority Health under the Department of Health and Human Services. These appropriations, first approved under the Biden administration, total more than $30 million to date. Underwood's spokesperson said removing the word Black in 2023 aligned the legislative text with language used by the Office of Minority Health to avoid future regulatory hiccups under existing regulations. Some of the references to Black people were replaced with demographic groups with elevated rates of maternal mortality, severe maternal morbidity, maternal health disparities, and other adverse perinatal or childbirth outcomes. And the latest bill also links to a formal definition for racial and ethnic minority groups. So the $30 million they got through that office, there were, I think, 6 of the different community partners, because they were from all over, that came to the actual like panel event and presented, because it wasn't like just a panel of them talking to people. They presented on like the actual labor and work they did, which I thought was helpful because it also gives people ideas of what they can do where they are, but it also shows that they are actually using like government funding to make an impact. Because a lot of times people would be talking about how, you know, y'all just giving out money from the government, just giving out money for no reason, and they don't see, you know, what comes from it. Even though I feel like they should give Black people money anyway, I don't give a fuck. But I did like hearing like what they had done with the money and how they were able to like service people and give them like the tools and the support they needed.
To that point, Amber, and to what was raised there. So kind of what I was saying, so that they'll redefine it. And then they'll play the word games because they understand this is the law, regulatory agency. So they're like, okay, we'll hide it under demographic groups with elevated rates. And then they said racial and ethnic minority groups. And then under that definition, you know, they basically make an extra link you got to click to get to Black people, right? And they're trying to hide it in there. But what Trump's strategy has been is just to eliminate the implementation tool entirely. So no Office of Minority Health is allowed anymore. And then in that, so like, let's say that's specifically around minorities, and this is why I don't like the rising tide raises all boats strategy, because again,
but he did not remove that office, and he doesn't have the power to remove that office.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I think he's planning to, if I'm not mistaken.
So he can plan all he wants, which is why I said them executive orders be confusing people. That the president doesn't have the authority to remove things that are congressionally funded. He has wrote several executive orders removing programs and offices that still exist because he doesn't have the authority to remove them. So I do think it's just important to add that in. I know he probably has said something about it or put something out about it, but he cannot remove the offices that he does not fund himself because he, as the president, does not have the power to do that.
True, but he does have Congress right now. And what I'm saying is he actually has been able to shut down offices. So it's similar to the Department of Education, right? Where the president on their own shouldn't, it's executive, so it's questionable, right? But you can put somebody like the WWE wife in there and the BlackRock wife in there, DeVos and Mahone, and then just destroy it. Like you can essentially like make it so incompetent that it barely
with
runs,
the person.
which is
Yeah.
so that he's just going to do. I see what you're saying. Like technically, he doesn't have that ability, but he will find every single way to attack it so that it doesn't function the way it's supposed to do, even if he doesn't have that power. And we already know Trump overreaches and all that because the Republicans actually wield power. The Democrats bow to it to maintain capitalist order. So this Trump administration shut down CMS, HHS minority health offices amid restructuring. So the CMS and HHS offices that coordinate efforts to eliminate health disparities are being shut down completely as part of the Trump administration's overhaul of the federal healthcare department, according to sources with direct knowledge of the matter. The closures could hamper government.
What's the date on that article?
That was March 2025.
Okay.
So yeah, it was pretty recent because I know I was paying attention to this because to this point, right? We know that DEI is just it's a broad category. We saw the interviews, we played them on here of the white boys who are in charge of reviewing the grants, and they don't even know what it is, right? They just know they racist, they sexist, they ableist, all the things. And so literally, right, he might not have the power to stop all those grants from coming through, but he could put some white boys in charge of the money, and then they could just block stuff. And so that's what I'm saying. They're going to find ways to wield power to actually get it done. He's done a lot to destroy the Department of Education, although he, shouldn't be able to do that. This is something Reagan tried to do, and even he couldn't get it through. So they will break it into pieces until it is basically non-functional, even if it still exists there. And then, of course, the Democrats run on the cycle of, well, we'll just rebuild what he broke, not that we'll reinforce it so that it can't be broken again. And so I think that's how we get into the back and forth. But to your discussions about power mapping, though, like I agree. What is the next step? So that's your point. If the powers are in place and we could get this through via Congress at the federal level, then that's where our people need to be organized to push, of course. And if the balance of forces changes, then we need to be organized at the community level to have doulas, which I've, seen organizations that do that work down here as well. And at the state level, see if you can get it that way. At the county level, see if you can get it that way. So we just have, it's a war on all fronts. So we have to be aware of the balance of forces. That's why I always emphasize how good you are at power mapping, because when people claim they're doing that and don't do that, they are pushing you down dead end roads and they'll be like, yeah, let's do the federal level. And it's like, no, if we look at what's happening, you can't do it there. So you should be trying to get the county commissioners to support doula programs and that kind of thing. So that's.
And I appreciate you because y'all are the only two people who say nice things about me every day. I'm kidding. But I do agree about the putting people in charge who are just going to destroy it, or the latter. But I asked about the date because I know people who work in the Human Health Services Minority Health Office right now, currently, and have been for a while before this president was there. So, and I know they're also working to try to dismantle it, but they can't. So I did say that for a reason, because some things are a lot harder to destroy than you think. Mm-hmm. And no matter how much, I'm just going to put someone in charge to fuck it up. It's really hard to destroy some federal offices, to be real.
Yeah. It's a long process, which is why they try and maintain power for a very long time. But that's what I was talking about, that boomerang that happens, because then eventually they keep fucking up. The Democrats will, if history serves, right? Even though they gerrymandered the hell out of shit, the Democrats will win next round, right? Because the Republicans have had 8 years. People are seeing shit ain't changed. Things look terrible. Trump's approval ratings are in the gutter. Epstein files, all those things. And so it'll probably be a Democrat who gets control again next time. So even preparing for that, I think, is interesting. But I could be wrong. I'm just saying historically. So we'll probably have Democrat, at least in the executive again. The Supreme Court is fucked, as we know. And then Congress is always an interesting deck to try and fight with. So,
which is why I always encourage people to try to push for things in your local government.
Yeah. Whatever level you can get the power in, and whatever level you can organize the people to actually move. That'd be the whole thing. Like you said, if somebody's seeing this person try this thing over and over and over again, and the momentum is burnt out and all of those things, it it's not so much about you. I wish it were. I wish I could just be like, yeah, well, this makes the most sense. I'm going to keep supporting it and all that. But the way our system is set up, you have to get people's eyeballs and attention and engagement over time. So. But appreciate that. As always, links and sources in the show description. It's Friday Remix Run Sheet. You can see everything we're pulling from. And we had another one. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one, Geechee. Sometimes when our personalities hit, they hit. So shout out Deontay Cal, Grits and Eggs podcast. There's been a lot of discussion about the roast of Kevin Hart. I think it was brought up earlier in Remix this week as well. About the white writers writing jokes that were just blatantly racist about Black people that were performed in front of Kevin Hart as he sat there with a smile on his face. So this was Deontay Cal's take on the roast of Kevin Hart.
Black people are deemed too sensitive when we react to sensitive subjects.
Yeah.
And niggas like y'all niggas that try to defend racism in the name of comedy are initiated through this idea of being a good sport. Oh, I'm just going to be a good sport. Therefore, you deem yourself worthy of opportunity. Because everybody that was defending this shit is just looking for an opportunity. Everybody that's defending that shit wish that they was on the couch, wish that they was invited. And they know that the only way to get invited is to sit there and show all 32 of your motherfucking teeth while they call you everything short of a nigger to your face. By playing along, you admit subservience. So if I put you through this and I'm disrespecting you to your face, when I do give you an opportunity, I already have you pegged as you beneath me.
Yep.
Because you let me get that off. You let me humiliate you. So I just think about this like this. In order to have Kevin Hart's money, you got to have Kevin Hart's career. If you protest the shit, if you get up, let's just say you on the couch and you offended by the joke and you defend your feelings, you'll never get an opportunity at Netflix again. Y'all niggas know that's what it come with. And y'all want to be loud. And while the shit trending, y'all niggas want to be loud and in favor of that bigotry and let niggas know that you willing to be humiliated and you willing to be subjected to racism and bigotry because you think that shit gonna get you an opportunity at Netflix. Nigga, it's not. You wasn't even in the room. Niggas always want to be anything before they be black. Nigga want to be a comedian. I'm a comedian first before I'm black. I'm a Christian before I'm a comedian. And another thing we see in real life this week, a lot of niggas is rich before they black. They don't want you to have political power or
Well,
to their oppression. They want your labor, they want your life, and they want your entertainment. And you niggas are fighting to be on the couch to be called slurs.
Wicked.
I want to ask niggas a serious question. We're gonna bring out definitions. Is you gonna be a clown or is you gonna be a jester? Because these people value your entertainment. And while you're in the space of entertainment, you got a choice to make. I'm gonna explain this to you. So the Samba stereotype is deeply racist, enduring caricature of a simple-minded, docile, and submissive black male, historically used to justify American slavery and Jim Crow era subjugation. Portrayed as jolly, childlike servant, the character was depicted as a lazy, yet intensely loyal, often grinning and unintelligent. Nigga, my mama taught me about this in the 3rd grade. All that class clowning?
Yeah.
Are you going to be a jester or a clown? Target of mockery for the jester is the audience and the king. The target of mockery for a clown? Themselves. The interaction for a jester is usually intellectual and social. The interaction for a clown is physical and performative. So are you going to be a jester or a clown? A lot of niggas put an adjective before being black, or they put a title before being black. So whether they be Christian before black, comedian before black, or rich before black, or athlete before black. A lot of y'all put that before being black, and that's why nothing gets done for black people. Because if you're rich before you black, then everything you do is going to benefit rich people. If you're a comedian before you black, then everything you do is going to benefit comedy. If you're a Christian before you black, then everything you do is going to benefit religion. And black people are going to come second. And then we wonder why we in the situation we in, because nobody wants to put being black first. Because that scare white folks. Niggas don't want to scare white folks. Now, black people are
So I don't really understand why his book arrangement is like that. Maybe he was like, I'm talking some black shit, so I got to put Urugu at the top. But at the bottom, he has Mamba mentality. And Kobe put black before Mama. And Kobe ain't
Okay, but Black Mamba's a species of snake, though. He wasn't trying to. I mean, he's black, but he wasn't trying to say there's mambas and there's black mambas. He was just saying it's like a black snake.
All I'm saying is, yeah, the snake. Anyway, so yeah, I don't. His book list is interesting, and then yeah, I just wasn't really sure what people was expecting from Kevin Hart. Like, what the fuck? Kevin Hart show Underwood. What you say?
I don't know what y'all was expecting either.
Yeah, on Netflix, roast special comedy set. I mean, yeah.
I mean, there's certain levels of egregiousness, though. Like, I think people do expect, and we could talk about, why, but a certain level of like self-esteem from black people. I know that he is compromised, and so outlining why he is compromised the way Deontay did, I appreciate. Because that's why people are like, how are you going to let him? There was a joke that I did not see. I'd only heard about it until it was aired, like on this channel, about George Floyd. The white man saying George Floyd is looking up at us, laughing so hard he can't breathe. What the fuck does that have to do with Kevin Hart? That's just a racist joke. It's not funny. It's offensive as fuck. You should have got smacked in your mouth, and you won't do that because Kevin Hart is sitting there getting paid to laugh and make that shit look cool. That is cool.
He a weak bitch.
It's cooning. We have a term for it in our community. You're a coon. You're a house Negro. Like, so when we talk about that, people are like watching in 4K HD someone be a coon. And yes, it is fucking frustrating, especially when that person will play in like aesthetic, will still find their way in our community as an entertainer, right? Even so, like people would argue, would you see Bernie Mac doing this? I don't know. I don't know his trajectory, but I would say maybe not. Because there are some black celebrities who have more consciousness about certain things. They are not radicals. They're not revolutionaries. They're not organizers. So they don't have a complete consciousness. But they will be like, listen, there's certain things I know. Like Deontay said, my mama taught me in 3rd grade that this is some corny shit. And so I think even that, when people are like, yo, you're from Philly, you're from the community, like, is that cool where you came from? Or is that something you started doing once you got around white people and started getting paid? I don't think you need to be a revolutionary to have certain levels of self-respect about black people. But when you're getting paid not to, this is what happens. I know you have a video about his career trajectory if you wanted to.
Wait. Yes, play that video.
Sure. And also, I love the book thing, because people are asking, who is Deontay? Yeah. I'm not saying these are all the, like, this is something every bastard person needs to know, but like, we should be aware of like what our people are listening to. Like, Deontay Cal is very popular right now. Grits and Eggs is very popular right now. Niggas like the stuff.
It is niggas going on, they going on tours and shit.
Right. Like, come on, y'all. So if we're aware of the masses are talking about, then we should know, certain things that are popular in our communities, y'all. And so, yeah, Deontay Cal's a personality. He's a podcaster. Grits and Eggs is a show. He has a lot of takes like these, talks about black people, with care, but not with a complete revolutionary analysis. It's thinking like an organizer. I'm like, how do I organize this person? How do I give them political education so that they can move to that next stage? But to the book listing, I actually appreciate it because it shows those contradictions. This is how a lot of black people who do not have some sort of political education program, some sort of community helping them study, engage. It's a very eclectic pick of stuff. You'll have Ibram Kendi on the same butcher, you'll have Malcolm X, right? This is how that works, especially because of how capitalism works, and you have bookshelves that are literally putting those things side by side, right? A mama who doesn't know anything but just cares about her kids will go into Barnes and Noble right now and they'll see Ibram X. Kendi's Malcolm X book for kids, and they'll be like, "Oh, this is nice," and they'll grab it. That's how my mama was. So the fact that Yurugu is on there next to Asada, I mean, even those two things, when we talk about there's contradictions there.
Also, we're not going to have the same politic as everybody.
Well, yeah, and especially my whole point is, if you're not an organized or radical revolutionary, you definitely will not have this politic, but you will have it. I mean, those things exist in our community. So reading Asada, but not having the context of the political prisoners, not having the context of Kamal Siddiqui, who's still incarcerated, you can put that next to Yurugu, which I guess they're closer, but I say there's tensions there. And then Mama mentality. And the big example I give of this, and I was frustrated because there was that propaganda from Iran that was saying, you know, that had Nipsey Hussle in the cafe next to Huey Newton and Malcolm X. And I'm like, that's
a lot.
That's wild. That's, again, you don't know our struggle well enough if you're doing that. But there are a lot of people who see Nipsey. He was on that trajectory. Was he? You know, I engage people on that. But I share this a lot because this happened. This was going all around during 2020. This was Nipsey's book list. Nipsey himself did not post this, I will admit. Nipsey did not say this is my book list. This comes from people collecting things that Nipsey had talked about reading. So I would not say he publishes an official book list. Maybe if he was around and No Name Book Club got in contact with him, that could have happened. I don't know people's trajectories. I always acknowledge that there's a revolutionary trajectory he could have been on, and there's a capitalist one. But just look at the two books, Blood in My Eye by George Jackson and Conscious Capitalism by John Mackey. Those are opposites. They cannot exist together. The master and the slave can't both be right. So this is like the problem. These types of folks will have an eclectic books of like the laws of power and Think and Grow Rich next to the autobiography of Malcolm X and Amos Wilson's.
But I think that kind of makes it even more dangerous though, like because
I agree.
Because the stature or the power of these people that whoever's celebrating and we think we can flip, like I mean sometimes you can't, like they're intentionally using the radical aesthetic so that they could pull people over, and then when you critique it, you're the hate nigga, and then they, you know, so leading niggas into black capitalism is exactly what will happen when niggas say, oh, you got to be black first. Okay, well, all right. So I mean that doesn't. So I think in terms of the critique, somebody can say, they can challenge things or whatever, but like if you got a following for a particular way, and then you, I guess, lead people into a particular conclusion. Yeah, I don't know. I think.
No, I agree.
They're even harder to organize.
It's Kwame Ture's half truth is more dangerous than a full lie. I completely agree. But this is my whole argument about the Democrats and why they're more dangerous for black people like Glenn Ford. I keep saying that the fact that this person is peddling in this aesthetic, that my favorite quote about the new Uncle Tom from Malcolm X is that new Uncle Tom, he wears a top hat, he talks like you, he looks like you, he dresses like you, but when it's time to talk about the country, he says our president, our army. Yes, that person is way more dangerous to me than a white person who you could just easily recognize, or a Clarence you could recognize as just an ordinary coon. That's what I'm saying. Kevin Hart with the black family aesthetics, with the I bring my hood up with me, with the plastic cup boys, and I know I'll put his career trajectory on now, but I think that is to our people way more dangerous, way more seductive than just the typical coon rap. But that's where it eventually leads, right? That's the Mike Killer Coon conversation that we have a lot. So here's this video you have about his career
trajectory. An old clip from EYL last season.
Yeah, let's do it.
Liquor stores and check cashing places. You know why? Because they know that the people in the hood aren't smart enough to open up bank accounts. They're going to get a check, they're going to cash it, and it's a liquor store right next to it. Let's just put that around them. Let's also put a bunch of shit that's easy and cash available. We don't want you to gain credit. We want you to be cash driven. That's how we keep the poor poor. It's not until you understand that you get out.
It's not about making the money. It's about taking care of things when you have it. And we as a culture don't do it correctly because of what our world is. If you look at black communities, the crazy thing is you'll see a check cashing place, a liquor store,
Chicken spot,
a sneaker store, and a cell phone store that doesn't accept credit, all cash, because that's where they expect us to go. So they say if you get a check, you'll cash it and you'll go down this row,
That's
and
right.
that check will be gone. So you're set up to lose, and we don't see it, we don't realize it. And those places that live in the hood,
He call us dumb in front of the white people. We don't see it in front of the black people.
smarter that you get, and your eyes start to open differently. You start to look at the world that we've been embedded in and how we're set up to lose. So when you want to win, it's different.
What made you want to start helping people with their finances?
It's just understanding what the gap is, right?
Right.
Like, I wouldn't have the knowledge that I have if I wasn't in the rooms that I'm in. And when I look at these rooms, they're powerful rooms, they're amazing rooms. But you look up and you're one of two maybe black people in the room.
It's liquor.
Thank you. Yeah.
So most of his videos when he talk about the check cashing thing, and there's another edit that I did where the nigga went from saying that to then saying, "Go buy my liquor," because he also has a liquor. So I'm not sure if you're complaining about black people buying liquor, but then you gonna sell liquor that makes me like that all the time, even when he started.
I'm also just confused because what place is this nigga going is cash only? All those places accept cards. Why would you get on there and lie like that? And it's such a bad lie. What the fuck, bro?
He's getting paid. He's getting paid. And the psych warfare that we keep talking about, Charlemagne having the listen to black women shirt on, y'all. Like, this is, yes, Geechee, it is more dangerous. It's by far more dangerous because I know people who are not primed to see this kind of stuff, to ask the questions Amber did critically and be like, wait, is that even true? They were primed to hear a sermon for real. I've seen this
He
in
was
church.
talking and I was like, that is not true. I have never seen a cash only sign at a liquor store or a check cash place. Or I literally have used a check cash place before and they deposited the money in my bank account.
Yep. But it's the sound. It sounds right, and it puts the blame. Like,
and that was like 8
years
years ago. That wasn't even recently. This was like when I first graduated from college. So this is like a long time ago.
And I think what's dangerous again is our people are primed for that. And again, that's the self-hatred sort of element. And especially when you mix it up, when you mix the black pride in with the self-hatred, it's like, yeah, we're the best, we're the greatest, and at the same time, we don't have our shit together, we're ignorant, we don't know all that. That is how these people play. Even Malcolm, as he was transforming, kind of peddled in that aesthetic. He had to grow out of it, but he used to do that shaming shit, like, y'all don't do this, and Umar doesn't do any of what Malcolm does, but he still does that shaming shit. Y'all didn't support me. Why haven't y'all funded my school? So it's a playbook. It's existed for a long time, and it's based on class in our community. So Kevin Hart has a class position. Killer Coon has a class position. Charlemagne has a class position. And I have this. Yeah, they get paid, and they pay. Like you just said, he has a routine he does for white people and gets the claps there. He has a routine he does for black people and gets the claps there. My favorite quote ever. I love E. Franklin Frazier. Shout out Earl Afari Hutchinson. Shout out Manning Marable. All the folks who've talked about black capitalism, Robert Allen, fire, read them all. To me, my favorite 2 paragraphs ever on class structure come from Claudia Jones, where she talks about the Black Belt Nation thesis. And she says, have Negro people a stable community of economic life. First, let us discuss what is meant by a common economic life. It is sometimes said that people have a common economic life when they make their living the same way. They are all sharecroppers or they are all workers. Actually, a common economic life with reference to a nation or community under capitalism means that the nation or community has within it the class and social relations that characterize society. It has capitalists, workers, farmers, and intellectuals ranged according to their position in the production relations. In this case, it means that a Negro must be able to hire a Negro, buy from a Negro, sell to a Negro, service a Negro. Such class.
How you be having these just pulled up already?
You already know, because I love these. I already know what I had to pull out for our people when they hear this kind of stuff. Such class stratification exists among the Negro people in the Black Belt. There is a Negro bourgeoisie. It is not an industrial bourgeoisie. It is not a big bourgeoisie. The bourgeoisie of an oppressed nation never is. Colonialism applies to other oppressed nations too. It is one of the results of national oppression that the bourgeoisie of oppressed nations is retarded by the oppressors. The market of the Negro bourgeoisie is founded upon Jim Crowism. It functions chiefly in life insurance, banking, and real estate. This has changed over time slightly with the Black misleadership class, but it's still pointing out the industries we're in. Its leadership among the Negro people is reflected in an ideology, petty bourgeois nationalism, whose main purpose is to mobilize the Negro masses under its own influence. This is all they have. This is why we talk about Black billionaires not having power, because their power is literally mobilizing us under their influence. Petty bourgeois nationalism. That is what Kevin Hart is doing. That's what Charlamagne is doing. That's what Killer Coon is doing. That's what Michael Jackson did. That's what a lot of these people do when suddenly they're under attack by the white power structure and they run to us. See what they're doing to me? I'm just like y'all. Support a Black man. They never want to keep the Black man down. Bill Cosby was going to buy CBS. All they have is mobilizing us under their influence. They don't actually have industry. They don't actually have class power at the same level that white capitalists do. And so this is what I always pull out, Amber, because I pulled this quote out many, many times to talk about the Kevin Harts, to talk about all of these Negro capitalists who are billionaires, and you look at their assets and you look at their industries and they don't control shit. They control you. Beyonce controls you. So when the billionaire wants to do something, she can go to the white capitalist and ask. She could ask them. She could be like, hey, can you promote my album? I'll do a show in Tel Aviv. I'll shuck and jive for the Zionists. But in terms of how she moves us, it's let me control the cultural industries. Let me control the Super Bowl. Let me perform at Obama's inauguration so that y'all see me and you. That is it. So that is like, I cannot stress enough. This is what petty bourgeois nationalism is. When I say mobilize, do I mean tweet? I mean tweet. I mean buying their shows. I mean going to schools where they're telling you to go, where these people will be guest celebrity professors like Howard. I'm talking about anything that makes you as a Black person mobilize your limited economic resources, your buying power, to support these Black people who do not have control of big industry. They are a colonized bourgeoisie, a Jim Crow bourgeoisie. So, and it has not changed even with called billionaires in our community.
Thanks. I did want to read the comments we got because some folks sent us some money. So ZZ Line Dad said, each according to his ability, to each according to his needs. Building skills is needed. Most adults. God damn it.
My bad. I clicked the wrong thing.
Most adults don't know how to cook till they start living on their own. With cost and time, do you let little Roscoe burn up dinner? And he sent us $20. So thank you, ZZ Line Dad. I appreciate that. Shirley sent us $9.99, and she said, Amber, my cousin is being relocated to Memphis for his job. He's a great cook and a good guy. How can he get on your roster? What job is he relocating for? That's what I want to know first. But you can tell him to find me on Instagram at AS for Afro. I also would need to know how he looks. So he would have to find me on Instagram also.
Send a selfie and a work ID to the DM.
Immediately.
I saw
and the last comment I saw, my bad, Lord, was TG saying, my oldest is ADHD and will forget to eat. He does cook though and keeps ready to eat stuff around 2. And I just wanted to put this one up because, yes, I do the same exact thing. And my dietitian told me to keep ready to eat stuff around because it helps to keep your body healthy when you're actually eating regular meals. Apparently, I don't know where they got that from, but that's a whole thing. So I just keep ready to eat things available to make sure I'm eating something. And you guys should too.
Do you explicitly say Black on your roster application?
Yes, Black only.
Don't got no white boy to feed you pasta on your roster.
But I did love that song, so it's so crazy. You know, in the song, so it starts out with got a white boy on my roster, but then the next one is like got a Mexican, and then there's another one too. It's like there's multiple types in the song.
Yeah, but
she's doing a lot.
It's a reverse what Black men do. It's like the pimping all over the world. I got Latino woman, I got a yellow bone, I got a brown skin, type of shit. Geechee, okay, you said I need new names for Charlemagne because I got Killer Coon for Killer Mike. Absolutely right. So what we
Webby.
calling him? Webby said.
I need you to go in the studio and do some drops for the Breakfast Club, man. DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlemagne the God. You already know what it is.
Oh, I know this one.
Thank you.
DJ Envy, Angela Gee, and Saturday, my God. Let me read that. God damn, girl. Y'all got some names for everyone. What up? You already know who it is. It's me, Webby the Tree. I found Young Savage, Sweet John Jr. Doing what I do, and I'm doing it. But my girl, DJ Envy, Angela Yee. Damn. Hold up. DJ Envy, Angela Yee.
You got a name on her.
Man, hold up. Oh, Charlemagne, DJ Envy, Angela Yee, and Charlemagne, the God. DJ Lee, hold up. DJ Envy, Angela Lee, and Charlemagne McGain.
Charlemagne McGain.
Webby the Tree, I found Young Savage, Sweet
Nigga
Jones.
struggling, bro.
DJ.
He said Charlotte.
Solomon Gay.
That's hilarious, bro.
Oh man, I love our people.
Steven said, "Not a roster placement agency." That's funny. That's hilarious. I just want to say the summer is coming up. You know,
It's
the perfect
here,
time
damn
to
near.
fill your roster.
Yeah. The sun is out a lot longer. Last week, Bukayo Snaka. Yes, I appreciated that. Again, the takes are for encouraging thought and conversation. We do have to go deeper, pause, think, see where the research was. So I disagree with how we hold up the jester. The whole point of the jester making fun of the king is exactly to make light of criticism of the king. It becomes a joke and therefore unserious. Absolutely, just like the White House correspondence did. So I agree. The analogy, I understand what he was trying to say, whether people are laughing at you versus with you. That's the thing he's trying to illustrate. But yeah, the example could have been a little clearer. So thank you for that. All right, we're already in overtime.
I just want y'all to know I'm gonna change my dating profile to put that this is my primitive accumulation of men, and you should join. That's what I'm gonna put on my new bio.
Charlatan Maine. Charlatan Maine was probably gonna be the
Charlatan Maine.
Charlatan Maine.
Charlatan Shemaine.
Charlatan Shemaine. God. The origin story of that name is corny as hell too.
Bro, Webby is funny as fuck to me because like he really be trying. He trying to get the words out. Push that shit out, nigga.
He call you nature girl. No,
nature girl is crazy. I ain't got niggas talking about some. Yeah, that's right. Because as a woman, that's just naturally feminine. That's not gay. Bark, and they start barking.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
whoa. All I saw was
barking.
that little clip on Threads, and that was enough for me. I never watched the actual documentary. He was doing too fucking much.
I think I've been telling people, if you watch a documentary, I think you should focus less on Nature Boy at this point and focus on the people and what they're saying, because I think we assess cults and how cults can look and the forms of cults. And some people join organizations that are fucking cults. And so,
yep.
Yeah.
Yep. My brother sent me that. He told me to watch the Hulu one. And then there's apparently a YouTube one that's like 40 parts and even more in depth than that. So I was damn. So yeah, I mean, I agree. There was so much in that. Even his background in foster care and all that, the system.
I don't give a damn.
Interested.
I'm kidding.
Oh, it's just the origin story. Like, why are you the way you are? And that brother's life was fucking crazy.
But again, I'm saying less about him and the people. What made people?
Oh, who else in the? Yes.
I'm not even like.
You know what was crazy? Them eyebrows on that brother.
Who?
Them eyebrows on him. Them eyebrows are crazy. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We still talking about Nature Boy. I'm talking about
I know what you're saying.
Who else need to go see somebody about that?
Who was his second in command? Who were the people? There was ranks.
For instance, the ones like the people who are talking on the documentary, they tell you why they was led to believe. Mm-hmm. And most of these niggas join Nature Boy shit. Just the reason why most of y'all niggas join the organization. Like the same reasons. And when people's like, well, everybody got contradictions, that mean don't. And then when it's like, well, don't critique people in public. That's all them shit the niggas was talking about. The same shit niggas be talking about in organizations. The exact same things. when at one point the one brown sister kept she was slapping the girl, and they was like, well, I thought that she did something wrong or whatever. Like, I think that part should be watched more than like everybody saying, because when people say that, and I feel like we did this, somebody called us out. We did this with the platform. Like when bad actors were being pushed out, I mean, sometimes you hyper focus on one person and not really see actually like the environments that's there. So I feel like, again, I know it's on Netflix and whatever, but I be hyper focused on the victims, right? Because once a victim becomes a vector.
Shout out Diallo on that one. I agree. That was my point. I'm not trying to excuse or whatever. Of course, people all go through different systems and have different outcomes. I'm just interested in all the factors that create that kind of person, because then they can be replicated. If we haven't changed those systems, if we haven't changed the society that people are growing up in, then we're going to get another one and another one after that, another one after that. So there's already a cult, I'm sure, that's formed that's similar, that exists right now, and we're going to get a Netflix documentary, and capitalism is going to keep making money off that in the future. But I agree, also just focusing on one individual, I'm interested in how it was operated. I'm interested in the places it was at, who it attracts, as you're saying, and why they're attracted. And then the transformation process of victim to vector, which is what it starts with Nature Boy, but then you see there are a lot of other people who start off as victims, and then slowly but surely they run in the show, and it's just it's a bit of a problem. To the point that people are saying about why they aren't in revolutionary organizations. I think to Geechee's point, some organizations are cults. So we
are, and some people don't want to join them. I was just talking to a nigga about how he joined Hebrew Israelites and found out it was a cult. And I asked him what it was like joining the cult, and he said he did realize after like a few weeks that it was a cult.
And shout out to him for recognizing it early, because some people just they can't. They put their head in the sand, or they feel too committed. But I really appreciate The War Before by Safia Bukhari, where she talks about what it takes to, as a revolutionary organization, assuming you are not a cult, to bring people in. And she's like, you got to be on the block day after day. They got to see you. They got to know you. They have to recognize you. And she talks about all the other predatory elements that are on the block every single day. Like, to be fair, revolutionaries are taken off the block. That's how we get into this situation. But I always talk about this time I was canvassing for an event in a neighborhood right close to our organizing center, and Jehovah's Witness saw me and another brother, and they were like, yo, y'all look like y'all know what y'all doing. Come on over here and work for us. We got a house over here. Y'all wear a spiffy suit and blah, blah, blah. So that brother was there. He knew his block, and he knew how to grab people who he thought might be willing to join the cult and knock on some doors. So I think about that. Someone asked what I'm reading, or how it was what I was reading earlier. That is, I have a compilation called To the Black Communist Youth, where I have a lot of these essays, but one of them is On the Right to Self-Determination for the Negro People in the Black Belt. That was in January 1946 by Claudia Jones. You can find that essay in Dr. Shreesberg's Deli and Jody Dean's Organized Fight Win, but it's also available online. It was how Claudia Jones outlines that we are a nation within an empire. So people will say that she's not a black nationalist. Again, I'm more dialectical than that. She lays out the foundation very clearly for Black people being a nation. And so that is one of my favorite essays on that. I think you'd also find it in a Black Belt Thesis, a Reader, which came out under, it was Eugene Puryear in a study group there. Really dope. I think they could have more RNA in there, but still fantastic resource. So, all right, y'all. I did have something from earlier, but I don't have much going on this weekend, so I'm gonna leave it to y'all. Do you have anything you want to promote? But I did have a comment star shout out. A-Rob, Bull City Vanguard, Blackmanville, North Carolina, had an amazing Malcolm X event Tuesday with the group reading of the Wartime magazine. It was a packed house, and I DJ'd. Dope. And yes, I did see that. It looked amazing, and y'all definitely turned that place out. So,
okay, DJ.
Comrades, shout out the community. Anything y'all have you want to lead the people with this weekend? Something you want to take their attention toward?
I'll just read Brittany's comment. She said not to be shallow, but having multiple good men to have fun and connect with in romantic and sexual relationships would be so fun. LOL. And I agree. And the summertime is the perfect time for everyone to do that. So let's all get on our Zooms because I've already added 2 people to my roster. So we're all locked in. Trust me. It's going to be a great summer. And Shirley's cousin might make it. So you never know. It might
Send
be
that
great.
application, brother. Send that application.
Don't miss out on your opportunity.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's shallow at all. By the way,
I'm kidding. It's not shallow.
No, I know. No, I was talking to Brittany's comment. You definitely make it clear it's not shallow. Yeah, of course you want human connection, and if you're the kind of person who wants that with more than one person, shout out to you. And if you only want it with one person, shout out to you too. To each their own. So okay, Amber, your promotion. Geechee, you got anything to promote?
Yeah, Geechee.
Nah, just the same stuff. If you have actually some time, if you can donate or not donate, but buy a t-shirt for the youth program work that we have in Baltimore coming up. I'll put that in the chat again. And then also if you know some young people in Baltimore who would be a part of this writing intensive that we have called a Revolutionary Summer, both young boys and girls from I think 16 to 24. Share that link with folks. That's all I got.
Word.
Can they still buy their t-shirts?
Yep, the link is in the chat. Yeah, we still doing fundraising for it.
Yeah. Shout out the amazing work we had on this platform, Free Palestine TV, with the special Wednesday edition of Saturdays. Brokish has some new episodes, Darker Than Blue, catch up on Black Myths, catch Dare to Struggle, Dare to Win. Saturdays tomorrow, classical breakdown, all the things. Appreciate y'all.
We'll be back on Monday with Remix.
Monday's Remix will be back. Amber's confirmed, so always tap into Remix. Links and stories in the show description. We appreciate y'all, as Fred Hampton used to say, as Jared says, and as we say, peace, if you're willing to fight for it.
Black Liberation Media is a collective of Black and African organizers, journalists, academics, and media personalities serving Black and African masses seeking to further grow in their understanding of themselves, their histories, and the African world through entertainment and news. Please continue to like, subscribe, and donate to the channel so we can further serve you and liberate our people. You can also go to blkliberationmedia.org, get some merchandise, and also become a Patreon member and a member from the YouTube. Please do what you can, share, and show your love as we will show ours for you. Black Liberation Media.